Okay guys, wanted to give you a look here what I had to do. This board clamped to the top of the head just was not working out. It would move, there wasn't a good place to clamp it, etc. And what I eventually was able to do, I broke, I think I showed you this on an earlier one, but I broke off one of my old spark plugs. And then drilled it out, and you could only drill out the itsy bitsy 1/8 of an inch copper, and then you hit the Bakelite or the, I forget what they call it, the insulation that's in there. And I had to take this, put it in a vise, take a hammer with a little pick that I had, and just beat the living crap out of it until all that white baked insulation, ceramic I guess, broke out of there. Once I got that done, I went and got, I think this is 1/4 to 1/2, just plumbing copper adapter, right? Plumbing section, I think it was 87 cents for that. Used a little bit of the JB Weld epoxy and epoxied that on there flat. Then I took my dial indicator here, used a little bit of heat shrink, and put a small wooden stick on the end of it, and used the heat shrink to shrink that up on there so that it all is nice and tight and a good fit. The diameter of this up here, I forget what it is, 11/32 or something. I drilled out, it almost perfectly fit into that 1/4 inch nipple of this adapter. But I just ran a drill down there, and it really almost snap fits in there. I'm trying to do this, put it back on here one-handed. And if you sometimes you can actually hear it or feel it, but it holds in there really good. You can see the bottom, it's not falling off. So what I did then was, and now of course it won't pop off, there it goes. Since this is the bottom part of the spark plug, I could screw that in really good. And it just so happened that this portion of the adapter gave me just the right height for this to stick out above the head. So I put that in there, tighten it down just by hand, use the ratchet, but just hand tight, and slide this over top of it, and it pops in, and then I can find my top dead center and then move back the required that I wanted, which was 2 millimeters, I think, something like that. And then I could work on the points to getting it so that the sound cut off. And I went from, you could do the light as well, which I showed, but I ended up hooking up my multimeter and just doing it by sound. It was easier for me. I didn't have to keep looking. I could look at this and move my ratchet, and tighten the points and all this stuff. There's just too many things to do. So the sound came into play a lot easier for me. So I think I've got my timing set on the 350. What I need to do now is I need to wire up external gas tank, because I'm getting really tired of putting the gas tank on and off and on and off. So I'm gonna go tomorrow and look at getting like an aluminum water bottle, couple of fittings that I can drill in, and get myself set up with, a nice little 1 liter auxiliary fuel tank bottle. And I'll show you how I did that here when I get the parts. I also had some problems with my heater this weekend. My torpedo heater quit working. The thermocoupler in it, I think, has gone bad. So I did some Googling and ended up taking it apart, bypassing the thermocoupler, putting it back together, blah, 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 blah. So it's working again, and that's how I was able to get this done this afternoon. But I've not been able to fire up the bike yet to see if it fixed my exhaust problem yet, because I want to build that auxiliary fuel tank. So just wanted to document this for today. I think it is the 18th of February. It's a Sunday. Tomorrow's back to work. Spent, I don't know, 4 or 5 hours this weekend. Well, if you include the time working on the heater, just trying to get things going. But still troubleshooting my problems. I'll get everything together here soon. Hopefully we'll have a solution, and I'll be able to post this all up. Thanks for watching. Okay, everybody. I want to show you how to time these RDs, or at least to the best of my knowledge. We're into March, what is it, 9th, 10th? Somewhere around there. So it's in the 50s, 55, kind of nice. Snow's melted, although we had snow again this week. So here's what we're attempting to do today. After watching many YouTube videos and trying to figure this out on my own, I think I finally got it figured out. So I've got my dial indicator in here. Took an old spark plug, beat out the white porcelain part of it, and you really have to beat the heck out of it, and created kind of a little jig to hold the dial indicator. I think I showed that in one of my previous videos. So the first thing we need to do is find our top dead center, which we want to go counterclockwise here, and I'm actually almost there. But you can see, actually, I'm going down now. You can see the top is going down. So I'll go back the other way and come at this. So we're going counterclockwise, and you'll see the nubs going up. And we want to go until that hits the top and starts to come back down, right there. See how it hit the top, started coming back down. And then you turn this outer portion here, rotates. And of course I shouldn't have moved that, because now I've got to reset it. But that's good, I can show you. Yeah, it's right there. That's actually pretty good. So you turn it, rotate it until you hit that 0. All right, so there's our top dead center. Now we want the spark plug to fire at 2 millimeters before top dead center. Actually, I think it's 1.8 or something like that. This dial indicator is in millimeters. It goes around, if you count them, there's 10 instead of 12. So if you've got a imperial or US versus a metric one. So this is a metric one. The way I understand it is each full rotation here is a centimeter, which means that each one of these is a millimeter, 10 millimeters, and 1 centimeter. Which means I want to go back to basically, let me get closer in here, about 79 right there. So what I have to do to find that, and this is to find out when your points actually open. So they should open 2 millimeters or 1.8 millimeters before top dead center. So what we have to do, if we come down here to the stator, the first thing we have to do is we have to disconnect the coil wires. And if you remember up here, here's an orange one, and you can see there's the gray one there. And that's what comes down here, is an orange goes to my left, which I'm working on the left cylinder here. gray one goes to the right one. Okay. So you disconnect going up to your coils because you don't want to measure the resistance all the way around through the coils and back. What you're trying to measure is when this little gap in there actually opens based off of the cam that's around there. So the way we do that, take our multimeter. I've set mine down here to the, what do you call that, ohms reading, and set it to beep. So take your red, put it on any good ground. Yeah, let me find a good ground. Of course, it's not going to stick right where I put it a minute ago, but just looking for a better place to put this thing. Anyway, this is working for me. If I can get it to stay there again. There we go. So I just got it set there to my shock. And you can test that this is working if we hit it, and apparently it's not good. Because when we put these together, you should hear the beep. So let's try it there. There you go. So we know this is working. So now with it detached to the coil, what we have to do is hold this on this nut, and we remove these two screws at first, or loosen them. And what we're going to do is we're going to set this, right now we're at top dead center, so we're going to set this back to right before top dead center. Wait a minute, nope, too far. At my 79 mark. Right in there. Yeah, it's going to be, you just aren't going to get it exactly, but try to get it as close as you can. And right there, when it passes right there, that's when we want it to open. Before that, we want it, we want to hear the sound from the multimeter. And of course I can't hold this on here and rotate that at the same time. So you're gonna have to trust me. But what you do is you'll loosen these, and I've already tightened this set. You'll move the whole thing, plus or minus, until you get right in that area. Then you tighten these down just finger tight. Because at these measurements, even just tightening that screw is going to move this plate and change that gap in there. So you want to tighten these screws very slowly. You can use your flat head. If I can get my finger in here. There we go. Right in here, and you just tweak it. Push that plate down, up a little bit, then you'll tighten it. You'll come over here and you'll rotate it. Again, you know, go all the way around a couple of times. And of course I'm getting it too tight, but go all the way around a couple of times here just to make sure that you get it set so that, see here, it's going up and back down. Not too far. Using my ratchet. Just so that you know when you cross that 79, when you have your multimeter set up there and it's buzzing, it'll be buzz, and it'll stop right there. And then your top dead center is going to be right there. And that's how you will know that your timing is set correctly on this. Unfortunately, I don't have enough hands or clips to clip this to show you. That should set my timing. So I've done the left-hand cylinder. I'm going to put the orange wire back on. I've made sure that I've tightened these screws slowly, but that they're solid. They're not going to work loose. And now I'm going to move my tool over to the right hand. I'm going to disconnect my gray wire, and I'm going to do exactly the same thing until I get this at the point that I want. The 2 millimeters or 1.8 millimeters before top dead center, okay? So that's what we're working on. Once I get this, I'm working on a little external gas tank that I can set up here. I still got to go to the Lowe's, and I'll be able to start this up hopefully either this afternoon or tomorrow. Today's Saturday. I'm just kind of playing around out here. I hadn't planned on it, but it's so nice and blue out. Haven't seen Mr. Sunshine in a long time. So that's where we're at. Hopefully this will fix my left-hand side cylinder not firing. That was the issue that I was having, and I think it's because my timing is off. And it probably should clear up some of the white smoke that I've seen too once my timing's set. Then I can look at carburetor tuning and idle adjustment and all that fun stuff. So that's where we're at for right now. Thanks for watching. Okay guys, just want to give you a quick glimpse at what I created here. Basically took the old spark plug, broke off a little thing on the end, pounded and pounded and pounded and pounded and got all the porcelain out of there. Then I found, I think it's a 1/4 to a 3/8 adapter, a little piece of, 39, 59 cents, something at the hardware store. Used some epoxy, it fit in there real good. And then I drilled it out, just took a drill and found out what the width of this was and took that size drill bit, drilled it out so that this slides right through and sits right in there solid. Did have to extend my dial adapter a little bit, took a little bit of a stick and some heat shrink and set something up there that will work quite nice. So that's what I used for the dial indicators. I finished timing both left and right cylinders. Now I need to go and get this piece I need to mock up a temporary gas tank up here so I can tune it, get it idled. Hopefully that's my problem. We'll find out here shortly, assuming the hardware store has the part I need. So that's where we're at. Thanks for watching. Okay guys, I want to give you a little update. I took the carburetors apart again, completely tore them down. Used simple green here. A gallon of it was 10 bucks. Couple containers, filled it up, put the full carb down there. Let soak 24 hours. Then took it out, cleaned it, blew air through all the little passages and everything. The only thing I did different this time is I did use a little steel wool. I think this is, it's yeah, quadruple aught. To just, these are the original pieces here and here. So took a little bit of the steel wool. It really did clean a lot of the old varnish and tarnish, I guess, off of those pieces. Double checked that everything was going together right. I did notice one thing. The one carburetor on the left had this little washer. The one on the right did not. I also did not know about my pilot jets. These are the main jets actually, or my pilot jets, what size they were. So I went out to Niche Cycle Supply for an RD350 It's a 140, the main jets, which are the hex jets there. And the washer goes down first, and then the hex jet on top of it. And then the pilot jets are 25, I think. Yeah, number 25. This stuff is not expensive, $3.25 each. And these go, see if I can do this and film at the same time. This is gonna go right down the hole there, and then I'll take my screwdriver down and tighten it up. And it just screws right in there. But there were a couple differences. I didn't know what number the pilot was. I didn't know what number the main jet was. I couldn't find anywhere on the jets where it said what size they were. So I ended up buying new ones. I think I spent all of 20 bucks to get the right size pilot jets, main jets, top washers, and then I went ahead and ordered identical needles that will go down through that. So I'm gonna put these back together, slap them on the bike this weekend, and hopefully the variances will be gone and both cylinders will run without issues. I have had the bike running and it works well. So that's where we're at for today. Okay, YouTubers, long time no speak. We're in April. It's been raining this morning. It's cleared up a little bit. It's at least in the 50s, which is kind of nice. I think I have finally fixed the RD350. I got in a new condenser, which I put in. And this one I actually just got a name brand Coil condenser. 11 bucks, cheap. Then I got new coils, which I wasn't gonna put on there, but I ended up putting them on there. And I'm kind of glad I did. Just to get you an idea, these are M-Grows. They make a direct replacement, so you don't have to drill out the holes or anything that these black things go into. The wire color's a little different, but it'll only plug in one way, so you really don't have anything to lose there. And I got these through Economy Cycle. Again, on eBay, if you go out to his website, he's got them on there too, but he also does eBay business. And I got it, what did I get? 2 coils, you got some 2 feet of new wire, and 2 new caps for the plugs. I noticed last time I was working on this, when I would touch this plug, sometimes I'd get a small spark. So I said, yeah, let's just go ahead and do that. So 10 minutes work, new coils, new wires, new plugs, put the new condenser in. I fired this up, and on the right-hand side, the right-hand cylinder wasn't working. So I came back in here with some paper, sandpaper, and cleaned the points again for like the 1500th time. And tightened the screws down a little bit in there. I think maybe there wasn't a good connection somewhere. But then the next time I fired it up, both cylinders were running, and sounds just beautiful. Again, you can see over here, this is the new coil. And they're direct fit. Actually, I need to put that one, because I didn't, ow, it's hot, imagine that. I didn't have spark on the right-hand side after I put these new coils on. And that's when I went and cleaned the contacts and checked that everything in here was nice and tight with the wires. And then as soon as I did that, poof, everything started working. So now I've got it running inside. I've still got my auxiliary gas tank up. So let's check this out here. stalling out a little bit, but I think I just need to adjust my throttle. Been messing with the idle spools to get it to idle at about 1500. Just a little bit in. Right back down to idle. A little bit of blue smoke, but nothing bad. Those cylinders are warm. Pipes are warm on both sides, so I know it's burning. Clutch works. Top knot works. Tank, and then if the streets dry up a little bit, I might just take around the court here and see how she performs. I'm sure I'm going to have to do some tuning to get it the way I want it, but I'm just happy both cylinders are running.